But the same thing happens when I search reptilian humanoids or something in YouTube. Pulls up a fucking a Wikipedia article for reptilian humanoids that says it's a conspiracy theory hoax or whatever. So they're actually,
Really?
yeah, so it kind of is suppressed, which is surprising to me.
That's really weird why they would, because that's like, I mean, dude, if you really want to take it at face value, say you're like a normie and like somebody just walks up to you and tells you about this stuff, you'd be like, wow, that's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. But then
Yeah,
they're censoring it, so why
yeah,
are they
why
censoring it?
bother? Why bother? I'm gonna play this clip of a news reporter turning into a reptilian before our very eyes. And to be honest, it sounds ridiculous, and it kind of is, but it's a weird clip.
Okay.
Bush, Angelina, and Oprah.
So if
Oprah,
it's tacky, why are you reporting on it?
because Thursdays, that's what we do here.
Okay.
That's what we do.
All right.
The Globe
I like
asked,
that moral justification.
That's what we do.
right.
The Globe asked a doctor to assess certain celebrities' risk factors and make her analysis. For example, she says, it appears Britney is suffering from a major psychological disorder and that it might actually be bipolar. Could be that.
Now, notice that this whole other notice thing on the screen. They're talking about Britney Spears' breakdown, which is the same thing that kind of Arizona Wilder talked about. Now, she said she was a mind control slave for Joseph Mengele, and that's crazy and all. But she says when he died, their control on her snapped, and it was around the age of 30. And it's basically the same thing that happens to these pop stars who fucking turn 30 and fucking go nuts suddenly.
Not even just the pop stars, like the Disney child stars too.
Exactly.
And sometimes the Disney child stars, I'm pretty sure Hilary Duff is the only one that literally did not go crazy. She's completely normal. And
I see.
then, like, the rest of them either, like, Amanda Bynes went fucking nuts.
Yeah, it's almost worth pulling up some videos of her and just calling her a reptilian. I mean, she
But, like,
probably
these
fucking is.
these Disney child stars, and, like, if you want to go even deeper, you could go with, what is that that really fat guy that really loved little kids' feet?
God,
What's his name? Dan
uh,
Schneider.
Yeah, God, Dan Snyder. Yeah, he posted
And,
on
like,
Instagram, show your feet for, the upcoming TV show, the upcoming kids show, and a bunch of kids right on their feet, like at fucking Dan Snyder or whatever, and he's a bunch of kids' feet pics suddenly.
There's another video with I didn't think we'd be getting this deep into it, or I'd have sent them to you. But there's one with Jenny McCurdy or whatever, and like there's a video, and she's like, I think she says like, Dan Schneider, look what you've done to me, and she looks like an absolute train wreck.
Jesus
So,
Christ, that's spooky.
dude, it's so weird.
Well, Brian Peck was a member of the same kind of circle, and he was around in 90s Nickelodeon, and he got charged with some sort of pedophilic act with a cast member of All That.
I heard about this.
Because they were a minor at the time, they never released who it was. So it's always kind of been mysterious. But they settled out of court, and then he still works on kid shows to this day.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
So, do you think, since it was the 90s, I guess that would have been probably Amanda Bynes then?
I don't think so. I don't.
Oh, is it too early for
I
that?
heard some rumors. I don't really want to go into it because I can't even think of any names, or I don't know. I have no idea. But I don't think so from the research that I did do.
Okay.
So by the way, fucking yeah, Bryan Singer, another Hollywood pedophile. This is all a thing I'm going to go into further. I'm going to do a stream about Brock Pierce and his connections to Hollywood pedophilia, Hillary Clinton, and Bitcoin. Upcoming event. But we're getting back to this reporter turning into a fucking reptile.
All right.
It appears Britney is suffering from a major psychological disorder and that it might actually be bipolar. Could be that. The doc then predicts how much longer they'll live. Sick, I know, but I also know you want to hear what she has to say. The doc says if these people don't get help or straighten up fast, I haven't pre-read any of this. Britney won't make it to the age 30, Lindsay won't see 25, and Michael Jackson has no more than 5 years left. At the other end, Angelina's going to have a long, healthy life, and so will George Bush and Nicole Richie.
If you're not already bipolar,
I hear yelling in the booth. Are they yelling at me for the way I read that?
no, you did great.
Okay.
But when if you're
Hey, wait,
not,
excuse me.
I could hear Lisa yelling
Give
from.
her a break. She didn't read it earlier. She doesn't know the story. It's okay. Just stop it. She's okay.
I could hear you.
Yeah.
I heard you.
but if you weren't already crazy, wouldn't you be made crazy by being called bipolar? And I think that would just feed on itself.
The whole thing.
Definitely
I
does
think
sound weird.
I think that by themselves it's fine, but we just spent more time on some expert who doesn't know any of them making comments on how long they live than we did on Iraq today. Okay.
Are you trying to make me feel bad?
Lisa Breck is going to.
So, pretty weird clip.
That is really weird.
There was some hissing going on that's strange. Maybe she was just stuttering. And I can't imagine, I don't know what's going on there.
Oh, speaking of, I wanted to correct something I said last week about, and this I wanted to talk about this just for a second. So, how weird some of these like reporters and stuff act on TV. Did you ever see any? I think there's 2 really good videos of these female reporters that just kind of lose their shit while they're talking, and then like they start stuttering and speaking nonsense and all kinds of other stuff.
It sounds very familiar. I've seen so many of these things.
Yeah, and like maybe that could be something to do with the MKUltra stuff. But I wanted to say one more thing, then we'll get back to this. So MKUltra, I don't think it was around until the 60s, correct?
It sounds right. I'm not sure.
So I mentioned that the alien abduction cases, because they mentioned this when I started getting into the Draco stuff, that I said that the alien abduction cases could have been maybe MK Ultra, like the government actually abducting people, but making them have false memories of other things.
Hmm.
The first recorded abduction happened in 1948. It was the Betty and Barney Hill abduction up there, and I want to say it was Massachusetts. So I don't know if that would have been MK Ultra, or that would be in like the first stages of it, or whatever I was trying to say. But anyway, let's get back to it. Sorry, I just wanted to clarify that.
All right. Yeah, so that clip I think is very interesting in itself. And you see all the glitching out in the face. It is interesting that that only occurs in the face. Though it does seem like it's just straight up pixelation.
It looks like a mix between pixelation and like, I don't even know, because it is weird it only happened to her face. Like I didn't see it happen in her hair or her shirt or anything. It was really odd.
I guess when these things happen, they kind of pick a color and it starts happening in a certain color area. So, but the claim was made in the video that was their holographic technology kind of failing. From what you've read, do you think it's holographic, or do you think it's something that their brains do, that they're biologically capable of doing, the shape-shifting?
Well, it's interesting you bring that up, because when I was doing research on the Dracos, they were talking about being able to like change their forms at will, which would be a mental thing. So,
well, not necessarily. That could still be technological. Why not?
yeah, I guess it could. But just the way it was described, it sounded more of just like a kind of like how a gecko can change its color.
Yeah.
But I guess they can change their form.
David Icke's thing is that they now, it implies that simulation theory is basically correct, and that everything is just a construct of our brain, and that nothing is actually real. So, given that, all you have to do is change your vibrational frequency, and you can change forms in physical reality.
It's funny you say that, because, like, again, when I was doing the Draco research for the extraterrestrials, they were talking about how they actually exist in their natural form in the 4th dimension.
Yes.
So they would have to change their vibrations to get into the 3rd dimension. Maybe hers cracked or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think the implication is made that some beings are just capable of moving through dimensions. Like they have a range of dimensions that they're capable of being in.